welcome to today's lesson. You will be working on solids in math. Solid shapes are also known as space shapes or three-dimensional shapes. You will first be looking at the names of the shapes, which some of them you'll recognize and some of them will be new to you. And then you'll be working on identifying the attributes like the faces, edges, and vertices. And you'll be looking at other attributes that you probably haven't heard before. And there's a video involved and a couple quizzes for you, the way we've done the quizzes on here before. So I hope you enjoy it and learn a lot. Bye, guys. Welcome to today's lesson on understanding solid figures. First, we've got to ask, what is a solid figure? A solid figure is a three-dimensional figure that takes up space, so it's also known as a space shape. Three-dimensional, or 3D, means that the figure measures in three directions: length, width, and height. Check out the figure below of a rectangular prism where it shows length, width, and height. Now we're going to look at some examples of solid figures. Starting with the top left yellow figure. Do you know what this one is called? Ready? Cube. Now going below it. This is not one we've done this year. Here's a hint. It has triangles on the side, but it's not the one that we've looked at before that's right below it. This is, ready? A triangular prism. When the base is a rectangle and then it has other shapes within it, that's where you get the word prism. Triangular prism. Now go down below. This is one that we've seen before. Ready? Square pyramid. You might have thought just pyramid, but pyramids can also have a different shape on the base on the bottom. And because this one has a square on the bottom, if you look closely, it's called a square pyramid. All right, go to the next one below in pink. What is that solid shape? Ready? Rectangular prism. It's the one with the big name. All the sides are rectangles, like a Kleenex box. And even then, sometimes one of the sides can be a square, you might be thinking, but squares are rectangles. So rectangular prisms have rectangles on all sides. Now, let's go to the second column with that green shape. What is that? Ready? Sphere, the fun one to say. PH makes the F sound. Sphere. Now, look at that reddish one. Remember what we just talked about with pyramids? It kind of looks like a pyramid, but look at that base and see if you can figure out what this one is called. Ready? Triangular pyramid. You might have used the hint from before and thought triangle pyramid, which is close enough for now. That's awesome. All right, let's look at the purple one. What do you think? Ready? Cylinder. And now the brownish one at the bottom. Ready? Cone. Now we're going to look at the parts of a solid figure. So step 1 is knowing what solid figures are. Step 2 is being able to identify solid figures. And 3 is being able to tell about their special features or attributes. The first one is the face is the flat surface of a solid figure. It's what a solid figure could sit on a table without rolling. That's a face. We're going to look more at faces in just a minute. The second one is the vertex. It's the point where 3 or more edges of a solid figure meet. The vertex is sometimes called a corner. Now, when you talk about all of them, the plural for vertex is vertices. And the last attribute that we're going to be looking at is the edge. The edge is the line segment where two faces of a solid figure meet. So look on that cube where two of the squares meet in a straight line is called the edge. Your job this year was to know the shapes and how many faces, vertices, and edges each has. Let's look more into the faces. The faces of solids are geometric plane shapes. You can decompose or break apart a solid into a set of shapes. These are called nets. Look how when the cube breaks out, its net, can you see, has 6 squares. Then on the right, look at that pyramid. When that is broken down, you can see a square in the middle and the 4 triangles connected to it that would fold up to create the point. Let's watch a little video on this.
Yeah.
We can build 3D shapes from 2D shapes.
Need one more. I've made a cube. It's got 6 faces and it's got 8 corners. It looks like a house with a flat roof. It looks like a box of chocolate. Open the lid and eat the chocolate.
We can build 3D shapes from 2D shapes.
I've made a cube. It's got 6 faces and it's got 8 corners. It looks like a house with a flat roof. It looks like a box of chocolate. Open the lid and eat the chocolate.
Next, let's look at the base. The base is one of the faces of the solid, but it is what it can be named by, like we looked at with the pyramid. So if the base is a triangle, it's a triangular pyramid. If it has a square at the bottom, it is a square pyramid. And then if you look at the bigger blue figure, all the bases are rectangles. So remember, that's a rectangular prism. Now, not all the sides of a space shape or a solid figure is a flat face. Some have curved surfaces like the cone and the cylinder. So on those, you do not count the curved sides as faces. On the cone, can you see the one flat circle face at the bottom? And on the cylinder, it has 2 flat circle faces, but you do not count anything for the curved sides. All right, let's do a little practice. First one, we're going to practice counting vertices. Remember, vertices are the corners or a vertex. Remember to count the vertices that you can't see. For these, you might want to push pause and grab something in your house similar. For cubes, you can use anything that's a rectangular prism because cubes have squares on the sides and they end up being the same of all the attributes as a rectangular prism. So if you've got a Kleenex box, you can always think of that for both rectangular prisms and cubes. On each of these, I'm going to go kind of quickly. It's going to be your job to push pause until you're ready. All right, how many vertices are on the cube? Ready? 8. If you look at the top of the cube, there's 4 corners. And then you've got to imagine the bottom that you can't fully see also has 4 corners. Let's look at the cylinder next. Remember, for vertices, we're looking for the corners where edges meet. Ready? 0. Did you get that? All the parts of a cylinder are round or curved, so there are no corners or vertices. Okay, last one on this page. How many vertices does the square pyramid have? Ready? Did you get 5? Look at the bottom. The square creates 4 vertices, and then all the triangles come up to a point for a 5th vertice. Now we're going to practice counting faces. Remember to count the faces that you can't see, and you can always, like for this first one, the rectangular prism, grab a Kleenex box. Faces are the flat sides that you can touch and feel that they're very flat, and you could lay them on a table without rolling. Ready? 6 for a rectangular prism, which is the same for a cube. You have the 4 around the sides, plus the top and the bottom. Next, square pyramid. Ready? 5. We have the flat square face on the bottom, and then 4 triangles coming up from each of those edges to make 5 flat faces. How about the cone? Ready? 1. It just has 1 circle on the bottom. Next, we're going to practice counting edges. Don't forget to count the ones you can't see. If you've forgotten what edges are the straight lines where 2 faces meet. And again, for the cube, it's nice to grab something like a cereal box or a Kleenex box, and you can feel the edges because a cube is the same as a rectangular prism for attributes. Ready? 12. Holy moly, it has a lot of edges. Look across the top square. The top square has 4 edges. Then you got to know the bottom is also a square with 4 edges. And then you have the vertical edges to connect the 2 squares, which is 4 more. And there's your 12. Ready for the cylinder? Edges are straight lines. Ready? 0. Now, looking at the picture, it kind of looks like there's straight lines going up and down on the right and left side. But remember, those aren't really straight lines. Those are curved sides. And curved sides don't count for edges, so there are 0. Okay, look at the pyramid. This one takes some careful counting. And the dots for the lines that you wouldn't see in a solid help with this. Ready? 8. Look at the square on the bottom. It has 4 edges. Then from each corner, an edge goes up to meet the middle point, which means 4 more for a total of 8. All right, let's do a little practice on attributes and kind of like clues or riddles. Which figure is being described below? I have 1 base and 1 vertex. Let me help you out here if you're not sure. The base is the flat face that it can sit on, and a vertex is a corner. So you're looking for one that has 1 flat face and 1 corner. This one you might get a little confused. You ready? It is the cone. Now you might go, well, look at the pyramid in the middle. It has a flat face that it's sitting on with 1 point at the top. But couldn't you turn that pyramid on the side? And each of those sides could also be the flat face on the bottom. Don't forget, we can always turn the shapes. Now on that cone, there's no way else to turn it that it will sit flat. It can only sit flat on its bottom. And the cylinder has a bottom and a top that it could sit on. Okay, next one. Which figure is being described below? I have 6 square faces and 8 vertices. Probably the biggest hint on this is the 6 square faces. Ready? Cube. Now, next to it on the left is a rectangular prism that also has 6 faces and 8 vertices, but its faces aren't squares. Okay, the following slides can be used as review sheets for this lesson as well as additional practice. Let's get going. This would be one that you can see all of the attributes for each shape. So this one, you definitely would want to push pause to take some time to study. These are the things you are expected to know this year. Now, if you prefer color to help out a little bit, you might push pause on the next slide to help study. Do you like this one better? Notice how on all of them that I've marked faces as green on the top example, edges as yellow, and vertices as pink. Now, I didn't color all the faces on the shapes below because I'd be coloring so much green that you wouldn't be able to see the others. So, on the example, I show you what a face is with green, but I can't color it on all the shapes because then it would be a hot mess. Okay, again, you pause on this for as long as you need to study these. Then when you're ready, push play. And we have a bonus video. You ready for this?
Let's look at some other kinds of shapes that are called three-dimensional shapes. These kinds of shapes are different because they take up space and are solid. But their flat parts are made up of exactly the same shapes you learned earlier. Do you see triangle, circle, and square? Three-dimensional shapes have a couple of important parts. First, three-dimensional shapes have edges. They also have corners, also known as vertices, where three sides meet. And last of all, they have bases, which is the side that the shape sits on. First, let's look at a three-dimensional shape called a cube. A cube has 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every one of them is a square. Can you see the 6 sides in this box? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You sure can. It's a cube. Our next shape is a cone, and at least one of its sides should look familiar. Yes, that's a circle. A cone ends in a point. It probably also reminds you of something else you know and love. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. That's right, an ice cream cone. Our next three-dimensional shape is a cylinder. A cylinder is made up of 2 circles. If you could unroll the middle of a cylinder, it would look just like a rectangle. Do you recognize the shape in this object? You got it. A can is a perfect example of a cylinder. Let's sort out one last shape. This is called a sphere. You can see it looks a lot like a circle, except it is solid, just like you got it, a ball. A ball is a great example of a sphere. Wonderful. Time to see if you can spot that shape. Let's try this question first. A box is a great example of a sphere, cylinder, cone, or a cube. Did you guess cube? Yes. You've got this boxed up. Can you spot the shape? Which of these items is a great example of a cylinder? A box, an ice cream cone, a soda can, or a ball? What was that? A can. Yes, a can is a wonderful example of a cylinder. One last try to see if I can stump you on shapes. Which of these are three-dimensional shapes? Is it a square, a cone, a sphere, or a circle? Did I stump you? A cone and a sphere are both three-dimensional shapes. You got it! You're a serious shape sorter.
Bravo! You have become more knowledgeable about solids, aka or also known as space shapes or three-dimensional shapes.